NBA rookies have the world at their fingertips. They enter the league with a blank canvas sitting in front of them to be painted with each accolade and accomplishment that they earned through their hopefully long journey in the NBA. We as fans love to discuss rookies because they radiate flashes of star potential and show the promise to be our favorite team's next savior. We put these lofty expectations on the rookies because again, their careers are brand new. Any and all hope for them becoming a star is still intact. We're watching the slot machine that is the NBA draft spin in front of our eyes, hoping that our team landed the jackpot, landed somebody who will one day be etched into the franchise's history books. And most great rookies who we place these high expectations onto do indeed become stars in some capacity. Over half of the Rookie of the Years throughout history are either in the Hall of Fame or almost certainly will be. For the ones that don't quite get that far, they'll still usually achieve some level of stardom. 87.6% of the awards winners went on to be either an All-Star or All-NBA team member. But for the remaining 12%, Rookie of the Year is kind of their last stop. They're the cohort of rookie sensations who, despite looking really good early on, weren't the jackpot their team was looking for when they pulled the lever of the slot machine. Instead of filling in the last 3 crazy rich Asians their team needed for the jackpot, they were instead 2 oranges and a gray. I don't fucking know. Slot machines are stupid. Just go with it. These guys beg a simple yet important question. How do you peak as a rookie? Basketball players are meant to improve when they're young. What do you mean that my Rookie of the Year, my first team all-rookie player, is suddenly a non-factor and isn't even in the NBA anymore? Well, as we'll learn, this unfortunate outcome isn't the result of some unlucky slot machine like I alluded to earlier. Each of these guys peaked in their rookie seasons for a plethora of reasons, almost none of which are their own fault. As much as these guys were the exception to the rule in the hierarchy of rookie sensations throughout time, I myself suffered this fate. There's a good argument the pinnacle of my athletic career came when I was 8 years old, when I won both of my events at the Summer Swim Championships. I also peaked in intelligence. I went from holy shit, why can you read, to yeah, that kid's pretty smart. So enough blabbering, let's take a look at some of the best examples of NBA players peaking as rookies. And when I say peak, I'm talking stats wise and sometimes their public perception. I do not think that any of these guys actually got worse at basketball unless they suffered a serious injury that would maybe make that the case. Our first contestant today is my all-time favorite post-gaming snack. Good ol' orange juice mayonnaise, OJ Mayo for short, one of the best nicknames in basketball history. Oh, that's his real name? OJ Mayo, that's his real name. I always thought it was orange juice mayonnaise. Alright. Oventon Anthony Mayo was the top high school prospect in his class who was eventually drafted 3rd overall out of USC. Mayo was simply a no-nonsense bucket getter. He averaged 18.5 in his rookie season on very solid efficiency, coming in 2nd in Rookie of the Year voting. Memphis went from a bottom feeder to a borderline Western Conference contender throughout his 4-year tenure there, so his role decreased from lead option to 6-man microwave scorer. It should go without saying that this move to the bench was indicative of Mayo's failure to expand his game beyond what he was good at. He was a great shooter and overall scorer, but lacked the tools to be a lead guard and couldn't get to that next level of stardom. OJ Mayo would flame out after 8 seasons in the NBA, partially due to poor play, partially due to injuries, but most importantly because of a 2-year drug ban following the 2016 season. Tyreke Evans had a very similar career to OJ Mayo, maybe a bit too similar. Evans was another top pick who could score and facilitate at a high level, something an injury-riddled Kings team could use right away. Evans put up a great stat line of 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, and took home the Rookie of the Year trophy, winning it over Steph Curry. Evans had the tools to become a star. This wasn't some fluke season caused by a ton of shots like we'll see later. Evans had talent, but unfortunately, his future seasons would not be as kind to him. He just straight up regressed in his sophomore season, dropping substantially efficiency-wise, and future seasons saw Evans take more and more of a back seat as DeMarcus Cousins broke out as the star in California's capital. He'd continue to be a solid role player over the next decade, highlighted by a 2018 season in Memphis that rivaled his rookie season production-wise. Things were looking up for Tyreke Evans, who seemed to have modernized his skill set and become a winning player, But after a disappointing season in Indiana, Evans was also handed the 2-year drug suspension, which made the 2019 season his last. It's unfortunate that these guys' drug issues cut their careers before they had given it their all, especially in Evans' case. He's one of the few winners of the prestigious Rookie of the Year award who just didn't progress much past his first season. But let's set the bar even higher. What about somebody who didn't just peak in year 1, they might have peaked in the first month of their career? Brandon Jennings. 6 games into his career, the small guard was averaging 21, 4, and 5. Great stats for a rookie, but in his 7th game, it happened. Bucks versus Warriors, unassuming early season matchup. You look at the box score, Brandon Jennings, 55 points. The man simply had a generational hot streak at probably the worst time, the very beginning of his career. Because instead of being seen as a flash in the pan like Jalen Green's scoring barrages every March, he was now carrying the ridiculous expectation of being a future star not even a month into his rookie season, when in reality, he was a small, inefficient scoring point guard who had a solid run but was probably never going to become more than what he was, which was a solid scoring point guard. It was like a fluky MVP run in the summer league, but dialed up even further because this was in real NBA games. Brandon Jennings shows us that peaking in your rookie year can sometimes be boiled down to just pure luck, a hot streak at the wrong time. Jennings went on to have a solid time in the league, and he did progress following this rookie year, but this is what he'll be remembered for most. Game number 7. That's cute. Try game 1. Michael Carter Williams, the other 2010s Rookie of the Year bust. And yes, someone with a genuine argument to have peaked in his first game in the league. The process, as it was endearingly called by former Sixers GM Sam Hinkie, was an era of 76ers basketball that had a relatively simple mission: be as bad as possible. The ultimate results of that experiment are for another day, but buried in the rubble of these forgettable Sixers seasons is the masterpiece of a rookie season put up by MCW. Sure, he was inefficient, sure it was a weak rookie class, but it's hard to scoff at 17, 6, and 6 as a rookie. In that game number 1 I speak of, try 22, 7, 12, and 9, yes, 9 steals in a win against the 2014 Heat. Yeah, he definitely peaked in game number 1. And it's not even that much of a bad thing, because holy shit, this stat line might be your favorite player's best game too. But unfortunately for Michael, while he definitely couldn't replicate that masterclass of a stat line, he also had trouble finding any of that rookie year magic going forward. After winning Rookie of the Year in 2014, MCW was traded the following season to Milwaukee, where he regressed a bit but still started for them in a playoff series. He then went into downward spiral. Shoulder injuries stopped him from ever developing a real jump shot, something that, in this rapidly changing NBA landscape, was a non-negotiable for most point guards. After getting bounced around a few teams, he would find a home in Orlando, where he'd contribute in the 2019 playoffs and play 5 injury-riddled seasons to round out his career. MCW got unrealistic expectations thrown at him after a picture-perfect rookie season, and the failure to adapt to winning basketball as well as brutal injury luck meant he was never able to fulfill those high expectations. Another disappointing rookie star from the process Sixers era is Jahlil Okafor. Drafted 3rd overall in 2015, Okafor was a dominant inside center at Duke and was considered at number 1 for much of the draft process. He had a solid rookie season for an equally bad Sixers team, but behind the good counting stats were notable flaws. He could indeed put up 17 and 8 when given the right amount of touches, but also had poor playmaking feel, a very limited offensive skill set, and couldn't play defense for shit. So the next year, when a certain other Sixers top big man came back from injury, Okafor was a mere afterthought, and by year 3, he was off the team. Okafor didn't fail because he was a throwback low post center in, quote, the wrong era, as many like to say. He failed because he really didn't offer much of value. Okafor's been doing great in the G League, where his strengths are more useful, and he even got called up for a cup of coffee with the Pacers. Maybe a sip of coffee. He'd probably burn his mouth trying to drink it all in 3 minutes. Regardless, it's nice to see him still working hard for a spot in the league after a rookie season peak. Something you can't just say about Okafor, you can also say about Okafor. I'm sorry. Emeka Okafor. UConn. Following a stellar 3-year college career at UConn, he was drafted second in 2004 and immediately made a difference for the late great Charlotte Bobcats. Over his NBA career, Okafor had the same song and dance you probably can guess by now. Gets lots of opportunities year one on a shit team, wins Rookie of the Year, doesn't improve a ton to keep justifying that big role, and becomes a solid role player before falling off, right? Well, yes, but his fall off was a little different, as instead of failing to improve, he was instead derailed by a scary herniated disc injury which put him out for 3 whole seasons. While he could never replicate his rookie year stats, he was always a solid starter up until that point. He made an awesome comeback to the NBA in 2018 with the Pelicans after 4 whole seasons out of the league, starting in 19 games, but 2018 would be the end of his NBA career. What made Emeka Okafor more susceptible to a rookie peak is the fact that he was an older rookie. We've already established that the best rookies are usually on shitty teams and can thus get plenty of touches to put up big numbers. We expect them to improve from here given how young they are, but some, as we know now, don't. The older rookies, however, have a much greater chance of suffering this fate because they come into the league with less room for improvement. Emeka was a great rookie, but at 22, he was already inching toward his prime. We'll see plenty more examples like Emeka Okafor who, because of their age, peak as rookies simply because they're not improving as much as the young guns. Another young gun who was supposed to improve but didn't is Marvin Bagley. After an illustrious high school career and phenomenal one season at Duke, Bagley was drafted second overall in a 2018 draft that saw 0 important stars drafted after him. Please stop asking questions. Like the Okafor, brothers, father and son, uncle and nephew, grandpa, babysitter and babysat. What? I'm out of guesses. Distant cousins. Oh shit, I was actually right. Bagley didn't improve his strengths after a productive rookie year, and he didn't really have the tools to develop into a good supporting player. Bagley had a great, albeit limited, inside game. He embodies my favorite stereotype of left-handed players in that he does not know his right hand is attached to his body. This was a real quote on one of my high school team's scouting reports. Combo that with no real outside game and being too small to be a traditional center, and Bagley was a tweener in the worst ways. He's still in the league as of 2025, but he now serves as a below-average backup big option, nothing more. Sucks that he was never able to develop into a star. It's easy to find a trend in these failed rookie superstars, star playstyles with mediocre performance. These guys are most susceptible to peaking as rookies because although they can have a great rookie season by the standard metrics, they aren't really winning players, and most catch-all value metrics reflect that. I know these stats are spotty and that basketball doesn't really have a catch-all value metric to the level of baseball's WAR, but they're the best we've got, and most of the time they're right in predicting these types of guys' careers. Over time, they never become winning players because their flaws never got worked on and their strengths aren't valuable to the team, so they never got the high usage that they got in their rookie year. But not all rookie peaks go on this path. Some of them fall from just decent to totally obscure, some fall because of injuries, and some players are in the Basketball Hall of Fame despite having their best season as a rookie. There's a ton of guys who did this on a smaller scale, going from, he could be something, to forgotten about the next year. Like Eric Pascal, an older rookie who came out of nowhere for the tanking 2020 Warriors that missed Steph and Clay all season. Had an extremely aesthetically pleasing game as a big, burly, bucket-getting forward, but like many others, couldn't fit in when the Warriors got good again. Or Kendrick Nunn, an old-ass undrafted rookie who took the league by storm, somehow finishing second in Rookie of the Year voting and starting for a Heat team that made the finals. Now granted, his minutes did decline by the time the finals came around, but still, he and Duncan Robinson that 2020 season were how the Heat built their reputation of finding 2K-generated players and turning them into legit pieces. After 2 solid years in Miami, Nunn signed with the Lakers and immediately got hurt and missed the entire season. This injury seemed to have set him back for good. The 2022-23 season saw little playing time for Nunn in both LA and Washington, where he was traded to for Rui Hachimura. Tommy Shepard, come on, man. He did just win EuroLeague MVP, so maybe an NBA return is in the cards. Regardless, he probably won't be making it back to the heights that he reached in year 1. What about Jayshawn Tate? You know Jayshawn Tate, NBA All-Rookie First Team Jayshawn Tate? Another old-ass undrafted rookie who, while not as well known as Kendrick Nunn, still came out and surprised everybody. Jayshawn looked like a fun Swiss Army knife type of player for the Rockets, being described as a 6'4" center by this blog. But unfortunately, the 3-ball never came around, a skill that's essentially prerequisite to be a good role player in today's NBA. Chris Duarte, anyone? Unlike the previous two guys, Duarte was a lottery pick in 2021 who was touted as a solid 3-and-D guy coming out of college. He had a good rookie season by all intents and purposes, making an all-rookie team and starting 39 of the 55 games he played that season for a bad Pacers team. After that season though, he stopped shooting well, which was the reason he got drafted 13th, and yeah, it's clear why this guy is out of the league within 4 seasons. Not to rub salt in the wound of Pacers fans, but man, it would have helped big time if they took somebody else with this pick. I'll never understand why teams insist on taking old, low upside role players in the lottery just to fill some roster holes short term. I remember during the inevitable Mayo experience of starting a fantasy basketball league just to ditch it a month in, Duarte was a hot pickup on the waiver scene. 8 games in, he averaged 18 points. Kind of like Brandon Jennings light. Alonzo Trier, one of the Knicks' many rookie peaks in the 21st century. Guy could score the ball efficiently at that, but didn't do anything else at an NBA level and reportedly had bad attitude problems. Out of the league after year 2. Fellow rookie on the 2019 Knicks, Kevin Knox, did damn near the same thing as Trier. Knox was a lottery pick who donned the greatest draft fit of all time and was a summer league stud. He continued this momentum into his rookie season, being top 10 for rookie scorers, but he also showed some serious flaws in his game that needed work. These flaws, particularly his offensive efficiency, never really resolved themselves, and his role in New York declined year after year before he was off the team in his 4th season. Since then, he's bounced around the league to whatever team would take him, still being able to score on bad teams, but he hasn't adjusted to be a sought-after rotation player. These guys were the Knicks' quintessential rookie flameouts who benefited from a garbage team to put up big counting stats, but the other 2 examples I'm going to share took a much different turn. Let's start with Iman Shumpert, who, despite being an NBA champion and a guy who stuck around the league for a decade, did unfortunately peak in his rookie season. Shump was an exciting young player for the Knicks who made all-rookie first team and provided great defense and energy for a genuinely solid Knicks team. He even got DPOY votes. Unfortunately though, in the Knicks' first-round playoff series, Shumpert would tear his ACL and never quite reach this level again. This injury seriously hurt his potential, but as I mentioned, he was still a key member of a championship team. It sucks, but it didn't end his career. The same, unfortunately, can't be said about Landry Fields. Like Shump, Fields was a contributor on the early Knicks Melo years and was another draft steal for New York. A rock-solid 3-and-D role player, Fields looked like the type of guy who carves out a long career in the league, but after his rookie season, his skill set was totally nerfed. An issue with his ulnar nerve, which sends brain signals through your wrist and your hands, added an ugly hitch to Fields' jump shot and made him a total non-factor from 3. Kind of important for a guy who got a $20 million contract for his 3-point shot. This injury seemed scary as hell. It was a huge morale killer for Fields, who went through several different surgeries to try and fix this issue just for them to all do nothing. Honestly, one of the saddest injury sequences I've ever seen, because unlike a torn ACL or a broken arm, this is something with his nerves. His brain isn't allowing him to shoot the way he wants to. Very similar to Markelle Fultz's injury saga, which saw the number 1 pick seemingly forget how to shoot. Horrible shit. If we're keeping up this sad injury kick, we gotta talk about Jay Williams. Williams was a star at Duke and 2nd overall pick to Chicago, who didn't necessarily shine in his rookie season, but did well enough to excite the fans about his future. Unfortunately for Williams though, a scary motorcycle accident after his rookie season would cause serious injuries as well as nerve damage, which would make an NBA comeback virtually impossible. Just brutal stuff here, man. An excerpt from his book is available online, and it really makes you feel the impact of this accident, both literally on his body as well as figuratively on his life and career. Another rookie whose chronic injuries ruined his development is Lionel Simmons. Like Jay Williams, Simmons was a college superstar. He dominated for 4 seasons at LaSalle and is still 5th in all-time scoring in men's college basketball history. He had a great first season as a pro, coming in 2nd in Rookie of the Year voting, but within 7 seasons, he was out of the league due to a mixture of chronic injuries and declining play. In all honesty, I couldn't find much info on what injuries he suffered to cause this decline, except I did learn one of the most interesting and unexpected tidbits of information I've ever discovered researching the NBA. Lionel Simmons once missed 2 games in his rookie season from wrist tendonitis, caused by playing a Nintendo Game Boy for too long. Apparently Simmons would play the Game Boy whenever he had a chance, and clearly it caught up to him. This didn't affect his play though. As I said, he was a stud his rookie year. I might try this my next game. These injuries caused some of the saddest career trajectories we've ever seen in NBA history. Sure, you could argue none of the players today were necessarily at fault for peaking in their rookie year, as most of the time it was due to their team circumstances, but the post-rookie year injury fall-off is a fate that no player should have to suffer. It's the biggest slap in the face when you've been doing everything right to set yourself up for a long career in the NBA, just to be hit by injuries and never realize your full potential. These guys could have been solid NBA players for a really long time. Hell, some of them could have been stars, but they didn't because of injuries out of their control. But let me set it straight, peaking as a rookie doesn't necessarily mean you can't become a star. Yes, there were plenty of times when even some of the game's best players couldn't build off their rookie season. There's no better example of a star doing this than Alvin Adams. Now you may be thinking, who the hell is Alvin Adams? This guy's not a star. And yes, in most cases I'd agree, Alvin Adams is not a star, but he did make one all-star team, and it was his rookie season. If that's not fitting the bill, I don't know what is. Alvin didn't really have some sharp decline, he just shot the most shots in his rookie season. Haven't heard that one before. But trust me, it goes further than fringe stars like Adams. There are perennial all-stars and even Hall of Fame inductees who peaked as rookies. But first, a quick word about gambling. Yeah, we're talking about this fucker again. A funny thing I noticed is that this video is almost the complete inverse of my video, Basketball Stars Who Went Out Sad. Instead of good players ending bad, it's bad players starting good. I say almost the complete inverse because I don't know how interesting of a topic bad coaches starting good is. Ben McAdoo, good for 1 season, and then my 6th grade math teacher called him a clown to us. He never recovered. Seeing how these two topics are again basically opposites, you'd think there wouldn't be any repeat offenders here. But going out sad is also peaking at the start if your career is only 34 games long. Jack Malinas was selected to the All-Star team in his rookie season. He also gambled on his own games and was kicked out of the league. So yes, he technically peaked as a player in his rookie season because he never played in the NBA again. But what's special about this guy is he gets double points. This was also his peak as a person. Malinas led an illegal college gambling ring that fucked over multiple Hall of Famers' careers who took the fall for his crimes. But Jack isn't the only returner from that topic. No, Terry Dishinger falls under this category too. You can't have one without the other. Terry came into the league and made 3 All-Star teams, putting up big scoring numbers on dreadful Chicago Zephyrs and Detroit Pistons teams. He then went to the military for 2 years, came back, wasn't the same player at all, and retired to become a dentist. Absolute legend. 2K legend as well. Terry once again comes in to show us how much of an absolute piece of shit Jack Malinas was. Terry played his last season with the Portland Trail Blazers, and he must have taught his teammates a thing or two about the hidden benefits of peaking as a rookie, because his 1973 teammate and reigning Rookie of the Year, Sidney Wicks, did exactly that. Impressively well. Wicks was a 4-time All-Star, which came in his first 4 seasons of the league. Impressive. But even crazier is that Wicks' seasonal point per game average decreased every single year of his career. For 10 straight seasons, he declined. His points per game graph can be modeled on Desmos. Why did you tell him to do this, Terry? It's your fault. Wanna know why it's his fault? Because this isn't the only time this happened. Terry came into the league for the 1963 season, joining the aforementioned Chicago Zephyrs for their last season before they moved to Baltimore. On that 63 Zephyrs team was the reigning Rookie of the Year, Walt Bellamy, a 4-time All-Star. In his first 4 seasons, whose points per game decreased almost every year. Not a perfect decline like Wicks, but damn Terry, what's your problem? Dude came into the league telling all of his second-year teammates, "Hey, Big Hoss, now you really lit it up rookie season. Just want to give you some words of advice, alright? Start smoking cigarettes and never practice basketball again. It's gonna work, just trust me." Two of them actually listened. Terry gave Walt his life-changing information when he was on the Chicago Zephyrs, as I mentioned. But the Zephyrs moved to Baltimore the next season and rebranded to the Baltimore Bullets. I say this because Walt and Terry wouldn't be the last Bullets legends to peak in their debut season, as even their absolute franchise GOATs did. First up, Elvin Hayes, a no-brainer Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA. Now I'll be upfront and say that this one's a stretch. He didn't even make one of his 6 All-NBA selections in year 1, but he did win his only scoring title. Not a peak, but he peaked in some capacity. Believe it or not though, Hayes didn't even win Rookie of the Year. How do you win the scoring title and not Rookie of the Year, you ask? Because bullets don't get better with time. The winner of the 1969 Rookie of the Year award, Wes Unseld, is also a Hall of Famer, a member of the NBA 75th anniversary team, and a former MVP. What am I going to try and spew to argue that his rookie season was better than his later MVP? Oh. Yes, Wes Unseld is one of 2 players to win NBA MVP in his rookie season. The other one, Wilt Chamberlain, would obviously build off that first season and win more MVPs. Unseld never did that, one and done. In fact, he never even made another All-NBA team after his first season. He only made 4 more All-Star teams. Unseld is the Wizards franchise GOAT, as he won Finals MVP in our only championship season. But I can't help but wonder why exactly he won league MVP as a rookie. 14 points and 18 rebounds. Good, but MVP? It seemed like a bit of a weak MVP race, and one of the leading theories is that narratives helped him out big time. The Bullets went from worst to first in the standings in his rookie season. Kind of elementary logic, but also not the worst way to measure someone's immediate impact to a team. This Reddit user also suggests that voters were intimidated by his large size and voted for him because of that. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Regardless of why he won MVP, Unseld is the rookie peak. Most of the guys that came before him just peaked in stats. We've already established that they probably still got better at basketball, but MVP is a different subject. Unseld was, according to the most straightforward measure we have, the most valuable NBA player in his first season, a title he never came back to. Regardless, Unseld has one of the most unique careers in NBA history. And although his individual peak came in year 1, he's the only reason that I have an answer to the question, what have the Wizards ever done in history? 1978 champions, bitch, stop asking. For Unseld and the rest of these star rookie peakers, really running out of ways to refer to these guys, their clear thing in common is the older era that they played in. NBA players came into the league at a much older age back then, which combined with a less deep, lesser skilled league meant that rookies could dominate way more than they can today. Combine that with the fact that rookies still went to the worst teams at the start, and it makes a lot of sense why a lot of these older stars dominated from the get-go. And those were the biggest examples of NBA players who peaked as rookies. I'm just gonna say it now, I definitely didn't get to everybody today, but I think I covered the most prominent examples of each variety. The biggest takeaway I can offer from today is please don't evaluate rookies just on counting stats. Just because a guy like Kevin Knox put up 12 points a game on a shockingly bad Knicks team doesn't mean he's gonna become a star, and just because someone doesn't get a lot of playing time as a rookie doesn't mean he needs to be written off immediately. And for the guys we covered today, I want to reiterate one last time that this isn't your fault. Most of these players are putting in more work than we can even imagine as professional basketball players. Just because their box score production declined does not mean they genuinely got worse at basketball. As I said before, this is almost always due to non-stars getting a lot of minutes on shit teams and not improving because they were never stars to begin with. But that's not how the average fan views it. In their eyes, these guys actually got worse, just like I got dumber since I was 2. When I went for kindergarten orientation in 2011, my circumstances were perfect. It was time to show the school who the hell I was. I was given a piece of paper to draw on, and while the dumb kids were drooling and drawing dumb pictures on their papers left, right, and all around me, I looked at my paper and I wrote one word. Rabies. I just wrote rabies on my paper. But it worked. My teacher came over, amazed, pulled up my paper, showed it to the rest of the class, and said, "Look guys, Brendan wrote rabies!" So to Kevin Knox, Eric Pascal, Jay Sean Tate, and all the other current hoopers fighting the stigma, keep fighting. You're more than your rabies moment.
Out of all words, fucking rabies?